After any proposition has been approved to be true, the real guides establish no authority except that of truth itself. They know that any authority hampers real truth and interferes with any free investigation and any real progress that can be made. For those of an intellectual nature, real truth may not seem to be apparent, but to those that are simpler in their common sense of life and naturally savvy, they usually pick up the understanding of what the real guides are teaching, and rather quickly. Aestheticism is one of the most regrettable features of modern degeneration and has displayed a radical departure from the real teachings of the real guides. It has been practiced by men of nearly all countries and in religions down through history in the mistaken notion that it will aid them in perfection into the higher levels of life. Buddha practiced it in extreme forms until he almost lost his life, and when he did give up, his friends condemned him for it. The medieval Christians also practiced it, and so have vast numbers of Indian yogis, and they're still doing it today. The real universal guides have never taught asceticism, and they do not practice it today. The new presentation of the real universal guides is for all of mankind and all people in all walks of life. In order for anyone to make the first step into the real far country, they must first find a real universal guide. Of course, they are never too far away, because we are always watching those who are open for the opportunity, no matter what path or belief system they may belong to or don't belong to. For the most part, it is actually better to have followed nothing. When the seeking individual finally meets up with a real guide, it is like coming to a vast treasure of wealth that is by the road toward their journey home. The real guides will now take you under their wing and teach you about the journey to the great reality. At first, most people gain the understanding of what is not real, that of the principles and rituals of occult knowledge, which most of the earth is into, from religion to standard education to all the psychic sciences. But not until a person has made contact with the real guides will they be able to succeed to the seventh level real universes. The real guides make the real connection to the new sound wave, which makes the U-tune immortal. At the same time, the student practices the new U sessions that are given him by the real guide. Here is the idea. You are to choose a room free of all noises and interruptions, and at fixed hours you will sit with the body comfortable. You are to keep your thoughts centered on the real you that exists at the center of your attention. The idea is to imagine yourself being with the real guide and hold the attention continuously without wavering. It is best to keep the mind as motionless as possible. Now, you are to perceive only of your new friend who is your new guide, who will be with you as you journey into the real far country. Within yourself, you may see a light and hear a sound in your ear, or the real guide may appear to you. You may have the experience of the real guide and the reality of him being in his radiant form, a body of light that shines. He may take you by the hand and escort you in your light body. This experience is not to be confused with astral projection, which is a limited form of travel to the lesser levels of the astral realm. The real universal guides teach universal positioning. the here and now aspect of being wherever you decide. At the sublime moment you have stepped out into a higher world, all of a sudden you realize that you have acquired a vast increase in awareness as well as joy. It now appears to you that you can do almost whatever you want to. With the increased awareness, your abilities and your knowledge of understanding have expanded proportionately. Then you suddenly notice that the entire material realm appears to be an open book to you, and that all the mysteries of the physical life have vanished, and you now find yourself in possession of all knowledge of the lower worlds. From your new position and on up, each level that you gain will give you a true, complete knowledge and awareness over the worlds below you. The new you session is the way. The real guide will show you how to climb the upward path into the unseen worlds. The principles which live behind true wisdom, purity, and real freedom are the most important aspects of the secret knowledge to know. All three of these represented various aspects of the new sound wave. True wisdom is the part of the sound which carries the direct knowledge of all things within it. Once you have been contacted by the real guide, you need never have any doubts of anything concerning the unseen world. True wisdom is the highest quality which you can develop within yourself while you are on earth. Once you have real wisdom that all things are possible, then you know where to find all the things of life you need, and all the desires of the lower worlds become forgotten. You no longer wish for anything that holds you, for it is foolish to do so. The human form is the highest creation on this level, and those who are in it are simply visiting until they realize their true potential. The wisdom one learns in this material existence is only a very minute portion compared to what is in the innumerable worlds of sound and light that are endless. Purity is the source of motion and the instrument to gain the true reality, the new sound wave on any level in the real far country. Real freedom is the liberation from all obstacles and the opportunity to live a full life in the real universes of sound and light. Wisdom also goes with a good mind, purity, and perfection. Real attainment goes with the supreme will, which becomes so in all worlds with creativity. Real freedom always goes with immortality, with a single-minded devotion to the all is. The great reality in this new nowness gives the new wisdom when you have the real connected to the river of life, the new sound wave. It also gives you creativity and the ability of sustaining all things in life. At the same time, it is a love of motion, which is a real freedom from hindering dogma and ritual. What I am sharing with you is that all these qualities of the great reality are latent within yourself and are actually so great that there are no words to truly define them. The realness which I have presented for you to follow, leaving the body at will and entering the real far country, is the exalted ideal beyond any system that exists on the earth. It does lay stress upon the unfoldment of wisdom, purity, and real freedom. This shows the true view of the real guides, and once this is revealed, none want to turn back. The man of wisdom, purity, and real freedom is hardly a tender man, but he may be a gentle one. This gentleness actually gives strength, but those in the human body will hardly believe this. They would rather consider that it is a weakness, the feminine virtue, and not fit for earthly strength. Once a person enters into the new sound wave and is submerged into its life-giving reality, they become aware of the false representation of human attitudes. When you are truly submerged into the new sound wave and become a part of it, you find yourself at one with all the universes. You become the Supreme One in the infinite, limitless, and whole of all existence. You stand in the center of the real far country, and you are now one with all things, and a true being with the great reality, the all is. The duty of the real guides consists of connecting all who are ready to the new sound wave and taking them out of this world to their own place in the unseen worlds which they have earned. They alone have the real keys to the unlimited universes beyond the heavens of man. Their mission is to guide those wandering individuals to the real universes of sound and light and help them enter into it. This is actually part of their secret worlds. None may follow them into the secret chambers and see all the features of the great work they are doing. There is not a living being in the entire worlds of worlds who does not receive the great benefits from the real universal guides. The U-tune has become so by an infinite oneness and must derive its wonderful qualities from that infinite oneness through its own creativeness. It has created all the gods and devils known to history, yet in spite of this, the supreme reality, the all is, stands far out above all this ignorance and exposure. As a man, one can be the sum of all goodness and sooner or later becomes aware of where he got his evil propensities. These ideas have been painfully manifested and they must be explained. One should assume that they came from the infinite reality, but this is not so, even though the all is has decided everything. This has always been man's idea of his gods, as the great reality is far different, because it is always pure. And so the question arises, where would man have gotten his evil tendencies from? If the supreme reality is all the perfectness there is, the answer is simple, from his own creative nature and the invented gods, plus the authority figures he has voted for and proclaimed to be his masters. Can simply be explained by pointing out that all that which is negative or evil, darkness and without light, ignorance and misunderstanding exists only in the lower worlds and levels. This is why it is so important to know about the different levels in the worlds that exist above the first level. The systems of the world have pointed to a heaven above and then earth below, and then a purgatory below that. The followers of these limited systems have come to believe that the information that is held by these institutions is the ultimate truth, which is actually a fallacy. Everyone should know how they were subjected to the negative side of things in the first place. One such way is because of the creation of the mother goddess, the feminine principle, the destroying principle of all things. Not in the same sense that man usually believes, because destruction is necessary on the earth. The Kali gods must exist or man would be overpopulated and nature would never be in balance. This explains the opposites in the lower worlds. They must exist because of what exists here. So, once a person realizes this, they can stop fighting with nature and simply learn to rise above it and learn about the other levels of life. The all is this unbelievable, all-embracing and all-sustaining essence. No real name can be applied other than what we know as the true reality, the new sound wave, the voice of the great is. This is a universal agreement among all the universal beings that this supreme reality is seeking to find those who are willing to be with it and become one with, and so by doing, one finds the greatest wisdom, the most wonderful attainment, and boundless freedom. This is the highest ideal of our very being that has ever been conceived or formulated with the real universal guides. Now that you have the secret of all secrets, you can go forth in your life and practice what has been presented here and discover your real being. The real universal guides are always present, so simply use the real sound, the new you. This was to be the final meeting for a while, as Paul and I went over so much of what Rebazar had taught us. We stayed for several days and nights, and even Ursha was with us. All four of us shared many of our own insights and experiences with what had taken place. I am very grateful to Ursha, who assisted me in remembering so much of what had taken place in my youth. She is someone most people will never know or even accept that she exists, just like Rebazar Tars and the real guides. I am so very fortunate to know what is real now with the all is.